Now, advances in technology have always been integral to diagnostics. They help make the answers possible. We're talking right now about precision diagnostics. Now, in a moment, much more from our next speaker, Betty Wu, who is Vice President for Scientific Collaborations at ThermoFisher Scientific. But first, I want you to take a look at the screens and take a look at this video, please.
Maddie's form of cancer is brain cancer, and it was very aggressive.
They started chemo like right away. At first it was working and everything was going good, but the chemo, we had to actually stop. Her body couldn't handle it anymore. So that's when they came to me about the clinical trial.
ThermoFisher's targeted sequencing platform was incredibly important in helping us to identify 2 important mutations that were driving Maddie's tumor to grow.
After the first 2 months, things were already changing.
As a physician and researcher, seeing Maddie today running around and growing, it makes all of the research and the work worthwhile.
Thank you so much. So 1 in 285 children born in the United States in this year alone will be diagnosed with cancer before their 20th birthday. This video illustrates the potential impact of molecular diagnostics and targeted therapeutics in the treatment of pediatric cancers. It also underscores the mission of Thermo Fisher Scientific in enabling our customers to make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. We invest $1 billion annually in research and development, and among the impactful technologies that we developed and enabled us to make this next generation DNA cancer diagnostic available for treatment for effective cure of Maddie's illness. Maddie initiated her targeted therapy 4 years ago. The treatment was completed after 2 years, and in the 2 years that follow, Maddie has been cancer-free. She exists with a normal childhood and is at the age of 7 at this time. Everything we do starts with our customers, and with them we work to create an ecosystem to advance scientific discovery, to translate those discoveries into medicines, and of course we collaborate with our industry partners to scale and manufacture, making these medicines available to patients. Regarding precision medicine, we operate and participate in a complex and changing health ecosystem. Here we support our customers in many different ways. This slide reflects a couple of key partnerships that we have with key stakeholders across this ecosystem. It requires collaboration in order to be effective in this ecosystem. So here you can see collaborations with academia, healthcare providers, governments, clinical laboratories, and of course our biopharma industry partners. You may have heard last year that we announced the opening of the Thermo Fisher Precision Medicine Science Center in Guangzhou, China. Just yesterday, you may have seen another announcement where we opened a sister center here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Both of these centers house state-of-the-art technologies, primarily omics technologies, and primarily in support of our customer collaborations within this ecosystem. So as the central theme of science and medicine today, precision medicine holds the promise to fundamentally change the way in which medicine is practiced. The statistics that you see on the right-hand side of the slide are sobering, and they reflect the response rate of patients to the various classes of drugs that you see there. We now recognize that most available drugs actually don't work on everyone, and we're moving away from a one-size-fits-all paradigm to a more targeted therapeutic approach. The gray boxes that you see on the left-hand side of the slide represent a couple of precision medicine trends. And from that, you'll see that Thermo Fisher and other companies are really focusing our technology development on scaling precision medicine. So some of the trends you see: an increasing aging population and the associated rise in healthcare costs. Some of the early successes with population stratification and reducing the diagnosis time for patients and creating more effective therapeutic strategies. And finally, the evolution of science and technology and the development of new technologies that actually enable precision scale molecular profiling. I'll be talking a little bit later about how we're investing in population scale precision medicine, and there will be a talk later on in this meeting on the same topic. So precision medicine is all about getting the right drug to the right patient in the right dosage at the right time to effect an accurate treatment. Ideally, and in the very near future, we expect that's going to translate to delaying or even preventing the onset of a disease. Our technologies apply across the spectrum of precision medicine, from stratifying patient and populations to better understand the risk to their diseases, to being able to predict their response to certain drugs based on their genetic makeup. Tools like biobanking that we provide are actually critical to the precision medicine story. Why? Because one can imagine with these national initiatives and very large clinical trials, it encompasses tens or even hundreds of thousands of clinical samples, and the fidelity with which we handle those samples in the acquisition, the extraction and processing, as well as the physical handling of those samples, along with the metadata associated with those samples, critically important to precision medicine. We support our customers in translational research, genomics, proteomics, metabolomics, and structural biology. Of course, all of these are focused on the identification, verification, and validation of new candidate biomarkers. You saw from our video how we're applying our innovation in the development of molecular diagnostic tools for cancer patients. Many of these tests are predicated on these validated biomarkers, and they're all meant to provide accurate, actionable, and cost-effective data to monitor and detect disease. Many of our collaborations with biopharma companies are based on companion diagnostics. And this is from discovery of the biomarker all the way to commercialization of the companion diagnostics. We also work with them in targeted therapies like cell therapies and immunotherapies. The boxes that you see running along the bottom of the slide reflect quantifiable and significant evidence of the impact that our technologies are having on the clinical outcomes of precision medicine. So I thought I'd highlight just a couple of examples that really stress the importance and the impact of collaborations in our evolving health ecosystem. So I'll start with one of the examples, and it's with the King Faisal Specialist Hospital and Research Center. This collaboration was predicated on our support of the Saudi Human Genome Program. As you know, this was a national research program based on the study of understanding the underlying genetics of diseases within the kingdom and throughout the Middle East. One of the first things that we wanted to do was to understand and better diagnose inherited disease through genetic tests. These genetic tests were based on a collection of 13 gene panels. We designed the gene panels to cover all known Mendelian rare diseases. With the help of King Faisal Hospital, we were able to deploy these gene panels. And through that, we were able to deploy and screen patient populations for known genetic variants that were actionable through a therapeutic or pharmacogenomic solution. It was interesting, some of the clinicians that were associated with the Saudi Human Genome Project referred to this as the trifecta of precision medicine: low cost, high accuracy, and robust scalability. Moving on to the middle panel, I highlight another collaboration with the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles around pediatric oncology. Here we developed the most comprehensive panel of genes. These were developed in collaboration with geneticists, pediatric oncologists, and pathologists at CHLA. Why is that? Well, the genetic alterations associated with childhood cancers differ from that of adult cancers, so we relied on this collaboration to design the most accurate and comprehensive panels. So with this, we are now accelerating the adoption of these panels. Last month at the AACR, we announced the International Childhood Oncology Network, concomitantly with the launch of our OncoMind Childhood Cancer Research Assay. Again, both of these will accelerate adoption of this panel that we collaborated with CHLA on and allow it to be adopted by more hospitals and clinics that are seeking treatments, more targeted therapies for childhood cancers. The final example I'll touch upon briefly is in pharmacogenomics. This was a collaboration that we initiated with the University of Pittsburgh and their affiliated hospital system, the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. So Pitt had initiated a clinical proof of concept for pharmacogenomics in heart disease. In this initial trial, they actually did some genetic screening on a small cohort of patients, essentially looking at their response to a drug that is known to have efficacy only in a small percentage of the population. You're actually able to identify those responders through a genetic test. So they got pretty good results from that initial pilot study, and Pitt and UPMC then approached ThermoFisher to ask if we would support them in a scale-up. The scale-up took two forms. One is that they wanted to get the test to a larger patient cohort, and the second was that they wanted to amplify from a single gene, CYP2C19, to hundreds of genes, so a panel of genes and thousands of genetic alterations. So we worked with them on this particular endeavor, and we're actually initiating the implementation of this trial. You'll hear about this more from Dr. Philip Empey, who's in the crowd, at our session later on in the afternoon. So, the success of this collaboration is really based on our mutual desire to really advance population scale pharmacogenomics, and really doing this through microarray technology. So again, this refers to the panel discussion from 3 to 4 today. Dr. Empey will be joined by Sean Lonergan talking about population scale metabolomics, as well as Brian Meyer. Now, I had mentioned a little bit earlier our collaboration with the King Faisal Specialist Hospital and Research Center. Brian will be talking a little bit more about our expanded partnership in precision medicine, specifically the genetic screening of married couples to assess the risk of their children for inherited diseases. I just wanted to finish by acknowledging and thanking the Mass Biotech Council, in particular Bob Coughlin, for his vision and his dedication to this partnership. I met Bob at a bio conference 10 years ago now in San Diego, and I continue to admire a lot of his leadership attributes. I also wanted to acknowledge Kendall Berlin O'Connell, new married name, because she really represents the Mass Biotech Council and the Purchasing Consortium. Without her, we wouldn't have this partnership. So again, we're very grateful to your involvement. Yeah.